chance to tie things up. Got to the game, middle of the game, was given opportunity, was not able to come through. We're going to break down the loss. Also, some new spicy, hot, delicious Dodgers trade rumors to get into. LA is interested in adding a Cardinal All-Star, also a potential elite reliever. All that more coming up next on a jam-packed episode of Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
Dodgers win!
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball.
Grand slam!
It's a double for Freddie.
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. This is the most anticipated season in Dodgers history.
Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. Friends call me DMAC, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you're new to the channel, lots of new viewers, new listeners recently, do me a huge favor, join the party, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And if you're already subscribed and you just want to support the show, hit the like button and drop a comment down below. Join the Discord, join the Big Lead, all that great stuff. But it's a Saturday night edition of Dodgers Dugout Live, a little compact episode, some post-game show notes. We're going to break that one down. Also talk about these latest Dodgers rumors. You see Jarren Duran today had himself a day. But welcome to the show. What are your thoughts about how that game transpired? Mookie Betts at the end. Jared said Mookie, okay, that's a lot of pocket. They need a player like Duran who they clearly can't get outs from. Cali Kush Smokin, Moreno 818. Dodgers need to make some changes ASAP. Ray Soto, RISP, Strange Kings, and K Kings. Roy Estrada, DMAC, asking price for Donovan too high. Would be excited to get him, but a long shot. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Lots of thoughts on that rumor. But let's get into this game really quick because we'll start at the end, then we'll rewind because it's the top of the ninth. The Dodgers are mounting a little bit of a rally with 2 outs. Esteury Ruiz was able to draw the 2-out walk off Aroldis Chapman. He gets on base, and then Dave Roberts elects to pinch hit Mookie Betts for Ha-Seong Kim. And Mookie Betts, who had missed yesterday's game due to a death in his family for a personal reason, he was on his way to Fenway Park. As this game had already started, he gets to Fenway mid-game, and then Dave Roberts said before the game that there was a chance he was going to elect to use him in a pinch hitter spot. Well, you got to give Mookie some credit there because that's not a very desirable position to be in when you're returning, especially coming off where you're going out for some personal reasons. To enter the game against Aroldis Chapman, who's having himself another elite season at age 37 in a 4-2 game, representing the tying run with a chance to give Shohei Ohtani the opportunity that would represent the go-ahead run, a chance to hit against Chapman. And it was a good at-bat. I mean, he fell behind the count 0-2. I thought that he was going to be aggressive early, potentially. You have nothing to lose. You're pretty much playing with house money in that situation. He goes to the plate, falls behind 0-2 in the count, then takes a couple balls, fouls one off, and he takes another ball, and then full count, 3-2 count, and he looks at strike 3, and that ends the game.
Mookie Betts takes strike 3, and that's the ball game. Chapman gets the save. Red Sox tie the series at a game apiece.
So the positive there, I mean, it looked like Mookie definitely was dialed in on that at bat. Looks like he was seeing it well, but the results just weren't there. And look, we've talked a lot about Mookie this week. I'm still a big Betts believer. I think it's been a very tough season for him, dealing with the stomach, playing shortstop every day, dealing with some personal stuff now recently. It just hasn't been a rosy season for Mookie Betts. And the most important thing is he can find a way to get a rhythm at the plate and get some consistency and go up there and compete. That's what I want to see from Mookie Betts. And in that at bat, there was competing there. He was competing. I just think, look, it's a tough situation to be in. You never want to take strike one and then take strike three in that situation. I think if you're Betts, I mean, you just got to let it fly. I really do think that Mookie needs to just let it fly for the remainder of the season. Be aggressive. Go out there and compete. Have an on-base mentality, batting leadoff, and I think he'll be in a better position to be a little more productive. So it was unfortunate because I think I was just praying. I mean, this would have been absolute cinema, right? You had the crowd chanting, Mook! Dodgers fans on their feet. Red Sox fans respecting him and wishing they had never traded him. And for if he had found a way to make something happen in that situation, draw a walk, get a base hit, hey, hit a home run would be the best case scenario. It would feel something, it would really feel very positive for him, and unfortunately ends in a strikeout, and you got to just feel for Mookie Betts, man. I'm going to show him a lot of love, and we got to wrap our arms around Betts because, hey, he's a Dodger. It's Hall of Fame weekend. He will be going into Cooperstown with a Dodgers logo on his plaque, so let's not forget, I mean, Mookie really is one of our own at this point, and you just want to see him have success any way he can. But really, this Dodgers team overall, they just weren't able to hit tonight. Outside of that first inning, it looked like it was going to be a great start. It looked like they had Garrett Crochet on the ropes. You had Shohei Ohtani. He steps up to the plate, 1-1 count, and he goes deep in a part of the park where you don't see a lot of lefties go deep at Fenway Park, especially against a lefty in Garrett Crochet. But Shohei Ohtani is so locked in right now. He absolutely crushed one. That gave the Dodgers an early 1-0 lead.
Springs, Mississippi is 1-1 to Ohtani, is lifted in the air to deep center field. Rafael is going back onto the track. It is gone to dead center field.
So Shohei Ohtani goes to dead center without 414 feet, 108.5 miles per hour off the bat. It's his 38th home run of the season, his 6th home run in his last 7 games, his 10th home run batting leadoff, and you're feeling good going up against one of the best pitchers in baseball, especially when a couple batters later, Teoscar Hernandez, he hits his 2nd home run in his 2nd straight game.
He went deep last night, though, his first home run in a month, and launches this ball towards the monster. It is gone, and it's the 2nd home run of this first inning.
So that's definitely a positive. See, Teoscar Hernandez hit another home run. Yesterday, he hit his first home run in a month. His offense has been down. He's been dealing with the effects of that early season groin injury. This is a massive thing. I mean, we talked about additions to the offense. If you get the Teoscar Hernandez that we got for most of last season, that'll almost feel like an addition at this point because he has been slumping for a prolonged period of time. If he's going now, that's going to do a lot for this Dodgers offense. But those were the only 2 runs they scored. And yes, when you lose to an ace like Garrett Crochet on the road, you can't be too disappointed about it, especially when you look at the bullpen they have, Aroldis Chapman. But the frustrating thing about this was you had some base runners and you ran yourself out of innings. You gave them 3 outs on the base pass. And when you're an offense that's been struggling for over a month now, you just can't give up outs, especially against a good team on the road. And that inning alone, the Dodgers, they could have scored more runs. After Teo homered, Freddie reached on a little dying number to the left side. He was able to reach. Then Andy Pages, he steps up to the plate with Freddie Freeman at first. He singles to left. And then Freddie, he tries to get to third after Jarren Duran had bobbled it, and he's out. And for some strange reason, I think they're just being way too aggressive with Freddie Freeman. We saw it in the series against the Twins where left fielder Harrison Bader barely even has the ball, doesn't even have the ball yet, and they're sending him. We just have seen so many times this season where either Freddie's trying to take an extra base or he's just being overly aggressive on the base pass, where you just don't need hero ball base running from Freddie Freeman because, 1, you don't want to give up those outs. He's not the fastest runner. But 2, because he has been dealing with an ankle injury all year. So I just don't want to see him put in those situations. And in this circumstance, it just wasn't the right thing to do because you don't want to make that final out there at third base because that's the second out, but still, I mean, that really kind of ended the rally because you have Tommy Edman coming up after Freddie Freeman gets thrown out. He lines to center, and that was that. The Dodgers get 2 runs, but on 4 hits. So you want to get more runs than that, and you just want better base running throughout. And the Dodgers, the strikeouts were an issue once again today for the Dodgers. 15 strikeouts today for the Dodgers as a group, matching their season high. Ohtani struck out 3 times. Smith struck out twice. Teo once. Freeman twice. Pages twice. Edman once. Rojas once. Ruiz once. Kim once. Betts once. Every single player in the Dodgers lineup tonight struck out at some point in this game. And you got to tip your cap. It was a dominant performance for Garrett Crochet. He gave up 2 runs on 8 hits. Did have 2 walks, but 10 strikeouts. Gave those 2 home runs. Went 100 pitches. The Dodgers had no answer for Wilson and Whitlock, who both had a pair of strikeouts. Then Chapman, he came in and recorded his 18th save of the season. So just not enough from this Dodgers offense in this one. I think you look at where this offense has been, and we're going to talk about some additions they can make in a little bit, but you also have to look at the starting pitching. I mean, Clayton Kershaw comes in this one, and my goal for Kersh, it was, can you get to 5 innings? Because previous start wasn't able to do that, and in this one, he goes out there to start things off there, and you look at how crisp he was early on. Bottom of the first inning, he did have the walk, but was able to get some soft contact. It was the second inning. You issue the leadoff walk to Trevor Story. Then Navarez, he doubles. Then that triple to Duran, that scored 2 runs. He just left a sinker a little up in the zone. And now do you guys see why I've been pushing for the Dodgers to trade for Jarren Duran for over a couple months now at this point as a potential option? It's because he brings an upside, a ceiling. We're talking elite speed. He'd be the fastest Dodger right away. Doubles are triples for him. And that's elite speed that you just can't teach. And there's just something about his ability to slug as well. He had himself a big game. And then a couple batters later, Toro, he hit a sac fly that gave the Red Sox another run to put them up 3-2. So the Dodgers already trailing after the second inning, down 3-2. And then later in this one, Kersh did give to his credit. Kersh was able to settle down. He did. He settled down in this one after that 3-run inning there in the second inning. He did get 8 hitters out in a row. He had a couple strikeouts in that stretch. And then Alex Bregman, he singled off of him. And then the rookie Roman Anthony, he lined a nice double that went right off the green monster. That scored Bregman, and that gave the Red Sox a 2-run lead to make it a 4-2 game. And his night was over in the 5th inning. Wasn't able to get to the 5th inning, and it's the second straight start. He wasn't able to complete 5. Give Edgardo Henriquez some credit. He comes in with a runner on second. First pitch, he got some nice soft contact to get out of that one. But that really was the story of this game. Really just Garrett Crochet dominating. The Dodgers offense not able to muster very much up after that first inning. And really, you just didn't have a lot happening. I mean, you look at the base running blunders. I mean, the 7th inning, Will Smith singled to center. Then he was thrown out at second, trying to stretch it out to a double. Teoscar Hernandez was able to get that home run early on, which was massive for LA in this one. But also, you had a base running blunder on his end as well, where he gets caught stealing in the 5th inning after he drew a 1-out walk, and that really put him in a tough spot. Why is Teoscar Hernandez trying to steal a base? I just don't understand the base running blunders. But, yep, not a great, clean game for the Dodgers all in all. The offense just not showing up. Nice support out there. Great to see Dodgers fans. But hey, let's get your comments down below. What was your biggest takeaway from this one? Because to me, my biggest takeaway, it's a tough spot for Mookie Betts in that one. It really was. I look at Clayton Kershaw, second straight start where he hasn't finished 5 innings. He's already said that it's going to be very cutthroat to make this postseason roster. Hey, what if Dustin May goes out there and pitches really well tomorrow? I mean, what if Dustin May goes 6 or 7 strong, and you ask yourself, who's better right now and who can help this team as a starter more? Is it Dustin May or Clayton Kershaw? Of course, you go with Clayton Kershaw in that situation, but it'll be interesting. Let me know down below. Do you guys think tomorrow is Dustin May's last start as a Dodger? There's been a lot of rumors that he could be traded. Simon Carl says, horrible base running today. Bruce Davis, Dodgers only scored in 1 inning. They got destroyed. This team is a damn mess. Don't matter who they trade for. This team does not have emergency. I think you mean urgency. You said emergency like last year. I mean, look, this is a team that has dealt a lot of injuries, has gone through this recent stretch where the wins have not come easy. But today, I mean, to your point, they went 8 innings where they just came up dry and couldn't score runs. And you did go up against their best on the road against a team that's still right there in the wild card that feels like they could sneak into this, and they have good players as well. But yeah, it wasn't the best game for the Dodgers today. I don't think that this team has less urgency, though, than last year's team at this point of the season. Michelada Poppy, Mookie ain't right. He needs some micheladas. Ray Soto, Duran brings that Mexican swag, unlike Florida Magnet Banda. Come on now, man. That's a bruh. I disagree, too. I think Anthony Banda brings some swag, and I love that dude. He's a great dude. Jacob Caldera, D-Mac, love your show. Always appreciate you, Jacob. Appreciate all you guys out there in Dodgers Nation. It's an exciting time, guys. I mean, buckle up. We are just locking in to the trade deadline. We are just locking in. We're going to have insiders next week. We're going to break down everything along the way. Felix says Durant auditioning for the Dodgers. Hey, D-Mac, great. Greetings from Clovis, California, from Kim Kanar. Karma Smith, someone close to Mookie. Yes, absolutely. We got let's make a trade for Duran. All right, we'll do some more of your comments, guys. Yeah, win tomorrow. Mr. Grimm, you've got Dustin May going up against Walker Buehler. That should be very interesting. A lot of adrenaline on the mound tomorrow. 15 damn Ks, Douglas. Yeah, Eric. A lot of strikeouts, man. We got Bruce Davis. What is up? Let's see what else. John Ohtani is going deep against Buehler tomorrow. I like that. I like that take. I like that. I could see it. Would be his 7th home run in his last 8. He's on absolute tear. 38 home runs. Leads the National League. Is one behind Cal Raleigh for the major league leading pace. NS, I'm disappointed anytime the Dodgers lose, D-Mac. Hey, I'm your shoulder to cry on, guys. We'll get through this L together. I think what makes losses like this kind of feel a little more palatable is the fact that you are really down to the wire getting to that final week leading up to that trade deadline. So we'll have some more other stuff to talk about, but I want to get your comments in. Beer-sama still got to be disappointed at the lack of offense. Sure, Teo might be turning it around, but everybody needs to step up. Kim had that not going under 300 look tonight. Mixil Felix, yeah, box score report on this one. We talked about the 15 strikeouts. It was nice to see Haesung Kim have some nice at-bats. He goes 2 for 3 in this one. Did have the strikeout, but still, it was productive for him. And look, that's what makes this game pretty interesting. Only Dodgers that were in the lineup that didn't have hits today was Esteury Ruiz and Mookie Betts. I mean, Shohei homer, Smith had a hit, Teo homer, Freddie had that little number early on, Paz had a hit, Edman had a hit, Rojas had a hit. I mean, they had some traffic. I mean, anytime you get 9 hits, you expect to score more than 2 runs. But sometimes baseball is just going to baseball in this one. Did Paz run the wrong route in center field? Moreno, 818. Wasn't a great route for sure. Not the easiest outfield to play at Fenway. Little cavernous outfield. You definitely need some reps there to kind of master it. But I think that's a perfect segue, Moreno, 818, because we are going to switch gears to some trade rumors. It has been reported by Katie Wu of The Athletic, also Fabian Ardai, who does an incredible job covering the Dodgers for The Athletic, that the Dodgers are interested in a couple of Cardinals players, namely Brendan Donovan. And this is a guy who yes, the Dodgers, certainly if they were go into a lab and create the prototypical Dodgers players, not the superstars, but the ones that really carry out the roster, yeah, it would be someone like this, a guy that can play multiple positions defensively. He actually did win the very first utility Gold Glove, did Brendan Donovan. And let's start with the kind of player he is, and then we'll get into who they could also include in the deal that would address another major need for the Dodgers. I'm looking at you, bullpen, and what kind of prospects it would require to get something like this done. We'll also talk some Jarren Duran a little bit as well. But Brendan Donovan, offensively, he definitely is a guy that can hit for average, right? This year, he's hitting 293. That is a career high for him. For his career, he's a 283 guy, but 293, close to a 300 hitter, 360 on base, a 428 slug. This year has a 123 weighted runs created plus, so he's been 23% above league average offensively. For some context, that is higher than where Jarren Duran is. He's at 108, but he has kind of had himself a down year. It isn't as good as Jarren Duran's peak of 130 last year, but this is a guy who offensively does a lot of things that can help a ball club like the Dodgers win games. He doesn't strike out a ton, 13.2% strikeout rate. Doesn't have a ton of pop, but can leave the yard occasionally. Has 9 home runs this year and 423 plate appearances. His career high in home runs is 14. But what you really like about him is if the Dodgers were to add him, he's a left-handed bat, and they would prefer a left-handed bat in this lineup. And Michael Conforto, either off the team or reduced to a different role. I think most likely you'd probably move on from him because he really wouldn't provide a lot of value for positional versatility as a late game defensive substitution, not a pinch hitter per se. I mean, and also it's not a guy that you want to really on the base pass as a pinch runner. But what Donovan could do is if you were to trade for him, you look at his defensive positions this season. He's played 77 games at second base, 18 games in left field, 6 games at shortstop, 2 as a DH. And his main position for the Cardinals has been at the Keystone as a second sacker. It's my favorite thing to call a second baseman, a second sacker. And he's done it at a Gold Glove level. He can play that position well. This year, from an outs above average standpoint, hasn't been elite. But what having him as your second baseman would do is it would make it where you use Tommy Edman as your exclusive outfielder. And Tommy Edman immediately goes to center field, which kicks Andy Pages to left field. So you upgrade your defense by having your second baseman be a Gold Glover, your center fielder and Tommy Edman be a guy that plays above average defense, and then it improves your defense by Andy Pages doesn't have to play center field. He can play left field where he's much more comfortable, where he's a better defender. So now you have a plus at second, center, and left field. Mookie, if he stays at shortstop, you can make the case that he's a average to above average shortstop. Then Freddie's having a really good year at first. And then Max Muncy, hopefully when he comes back, he can find his footing and catch a rhythm and avoid just major mistakes at third base. So it would improve your defense. It would lengthen your lineup. It would give you a hitter that is less slug-oriented, right? Someone that can put the ball in play a little more than some of the guys in this offense. When you look at the Dodgers offense, you got a lot of boppers, right? You got Shohei, you got Mookie when he's right, you got Freddie Freeman that can get you doubles and hit home runs, Teo Smith, big sluggers, Max Muncy, big slugger. Well, what he does at an elite level is he does not swing and miss. His whiff percentage is in the 96th percentile, does not strike out a lot, 90th percentile, and his expected batting average is the 95th percentile. So he puts the ball in play. Contact is king. He's very versatile. Other thing, too, is he'd be a long-term play, and that's what makes me think that, wow, are the Dodgers really interested in doing a deal with a Cardinals player that's under multiple years of team control, because the asking price is certainly going to be a lot higher because of that. Because he's under team control for another 2 seasons, so you get him for the rest of this year and then 2026 and 2027. So he has 2 arbitration years left. So that's what he would do. And then I think the reason why this makes sense for the Dodgers from the standpoint that, hey, if you're looking to add that bat, they're going to have to part ways with some premium prospects for, at least do it with the team that just so happens to have a top-level reliever that is on an expiring contract. I think the thing about the Dodgers is, look, there's nothing that Andrew Friedman hates more. There's nothing that he detests more than having to trade for a reliever at the trade deadline. He absolutely detests it because you have to overpay for a volatile position group. And relievers are guys, 1 year they look great, next year they don't look as great. Of course, there are exceptions to that rule, right? You've had consistency with relievers, Mariano Rivera. I mean, you can even look at this team when Kenley was good. I mean, there's examples of that, but sometimes they're off. I mean, even the guy we saw today, Aroldis Chapman, he's had his down years, and then he's been able to kind of reinvent himself and just really get back to being that fireballer with the cutter and just be effective. But with Ryan Helsley, that is a guy that checks off a lot of boxes for what the Dodgers like to do with relievers, because Ryan Helsley is a guy that's on an expiring contract. Ryan Helsley is a guy that can dominate hitters. He can overpower hitters. Now, is he as great as Mason Miller this year? No. Is he great as Johan Duran this year? No. I mean, you can make the case that he's probably a level below David Bednar, definitely a level below Emmanuel Clase, definitely below those guys as far as his ceiling as a pitcher at this stage of his career. But one, the Dodgers always think they can improve you. Just look at Michael Kopech last season. Just the second you put on that Dodger blue and have a conversation with Mark Pryor, that ERA is going to go down a little bit. And then a couple of appearances, a couple of adjustments, it might go down a couple of points. But this year, for Ryan Helsley, the ERA at 3, expected ERA 3.51. Those are up from last year where he was a 2.04 ERA guy, a 2.72 expected ERA guy. But he's not that far off from where he was last year. Is he far off from where he was a couple years ago when he was at the peak of his powers? The answer is yes. And in 2022 and 2023, his strikeout rate was almost 40% at 39.3% in 2022. That number has dropped to 26.1%. So he's not striking out guys at an incredibly elite level like he was at his peak. The opponent's batting average is at 254. The whip is at 1.39. The walk rate at 8.9%. So he's not ultra elite, but I do think that he has the potential where if the Dodgers were to tweak some things with him and, of course, just join a contender where you can have a more prominent role and a chance to win a World Series, I think things would trend in the right direction. Like, what does he do at the very best level for him? Fastball velocity averaging 99.3 miles per hour on the heater. That's 99th percentile. Gets chase, gets whiff, strikes out hitters at an above average level. It's not ultra elite, but still in the 76th percentile. What he does at a below average level that does concern me, quite frankly, though, is the hard contact. A lot of hard contact. He's in the 5th percentile on average exit velocity, 15th percentile on hard hit percentage. Also, you just kind of look at the way that things have trended for him. It's kind of been in the opposite direction. So it's not absolutely elite, but I do think that it's a good, happy medium for the guys that could be available. I mean, look at Felix Bautista. He just went on the injured list, right? So that's one less name. You look at Griffin Jackson, Johan Duran, and guys like that. I mean, are you really going to pay top dollar for guys that aren't even guaranteed to be traded? I just want to make that very clear right here. There's no guarantee the Guardians are trading Emmanuel Clase and Stephen Kwan, and there's no guarantee they're trading Johan Duran and Griffin Jackson if you're the Minnesota Twins. So we know that Ryan Helsley is going to get traded. We know that. And I think that it could be a situation with the Dodgers where it's, hey, we know that there's been some Arenado buzz for the last couple of years at times. We know that there has to be some lines of communication. They probably have a pretty good idea of what they would want for Ryan Helsley. It's just, what have I told you on the show? They want multiple players. They want to get some value, so you would have to go bigger. Now, that's why the Donovan Helsley moves make some sense for the Dodgers, whereas the Jarren Duran move, it's starting to make a little less sense, even though I would take Duran over Donovan just because of the upside play and the fact that you would keep him in center field, and then you could use Edman at second base. Kim could come off the bench and get some starts. But Donovan's a really good player, though. Both are good players that I would like to have on the Dodgers. I think this would be a major move. It absolutely would with the team control. You're trading for an all-star, right? You're trading for an all-star and a league closer. But the thing about the Red Sox is they don't have the scenario where it is a reliever option and an outfielder option. The Cardinals, they do, where it's a reliever option and a utility man option. If the Red Sox had a reliever that made some sense, let's say that, for example, Aroldis Chapman was definitely available, then, hey, then it could make some sense. It could make some sense, but that's kind of the thing. And you look at, too, on top of that, the Red Sox outfielder, Marcelo Meyer, he's injured right now. He's dealing with a wrist injury, so that decreases the likelihood that they would trade Jarren Duran. And then I think, too, you wouldn't be talking about Dalton Rushing. There's no way that Dalton Rushing, I don't think, would be included in this deal. I mean, you look at who they would give up. Now let's explore that next and keep rocking with us in the comments. I see you guys firing away. Keep firing away. I want to get your comments. I want to get all your thoughts and opinions on these potential additions. But you look at what the Dodgers would have to give up. So who would they be getting in? Just to put it all together, you'd be bringing in Brendan Donovan, has the super utility versatility. He can be an outfielder, can be an infielder, most likely would be an infield, and then you'd kick Edman to outfield, and then he's under team control through 2027. Guy hits for contact, hits close to 300. And then Ryan Helsley, a 3 ERA fireballer type of reliever. So those two, and then who would you give up? I think you would be kind of in the area where we saw them just promote Eduardo Quintero, the outfielder. I certainly think he could be a name. They've been interested in Bobby Miller in the past. So do they think a change of scenery for Bobby Miller could help? They see the potential there with the velocity. And then you got Alex Freeland, who that when you look at kind of who they'd be bringing in as far as the Dodgers acquiring a guy that can play some infield, can play some outfield, and then Edman already on that extension, infield, outfield, would they be more likely to give up Alex Freeland? I think that's a possibility as well. And I think you look at kind of where the Dodgers were at just overall, I don't think they'd be giving up a Zaire Hope. I think Justin Robleski is someone that could be included in the deal. I think they would prefer to keep Dalton Rushing for this one, but I do think that a guy like a Mike Sirota is someone that could be included in this deal. But I do think that you could pull this deal off without including Jackson Ferris, Zaire Hope, or Josue DePaula. I do think you would definitely look at one of your top 5 prospects for sure. Could be Alex Freeland, possibly 2 top 10 prospects, but not the crown jewels of the farm system. And you could probably get this deal done. I mean, there's going to be a lot of competition for sure, but they do have the prospects to get a deal like this done. And that's kind of where you start. Do you have the requisite talent in your farm system to get a deal like this done? I think the Dodgers know the answer to that is yes, in all caps, because they made the communication. And I think if you're the Cardinals, you either A, want to take advantage of the Dodgers because they're really one of your top competitors in the National League, or it's, hey, we don't want to help the Dodgers, right? But, hey, business is business. And, look, the Cardinals have seen what Michael Busch has done. Look, the Cardinals have seen what some of the Dodgers players have done that have been included in these trades. The Dodgers know how to draft and develop and scout, right? There's quality in this farm system, so you owe it to your organization to go out there and explore deals with the Dodgers. So that's kind of where that deal is right now. I don't think that they're close. I think if I had to break out the Dodgers rumor meter, which I'm going to do, I'd give it a 2.5 Dodger dogs right now. I think that there's a combination of people are talking and some serious smoke. I think that there is smoke for sure, but I also think that there's some posturing going on by the Dodgers too. Maybe you're doing that because you want your other guy. I mean, I can't. You can't tell me that you didn't watch today's game, and half the time that you're watching that game, you were visualizing Jarren Durant in a Dodgers uniform. I mean, the guy would be electric in a Dodger uniform. He really would. Let me know down below, though. Would you guys want Donovan or Duran? Ken Rosenthal did say during the game that he doesn't think that Duran's going to get traded because of that Meyer injury. But let me know down below. Who would you have if you could pick one? Mario Lendaverde, Donovan, new shiny Army Swiss knife. Yep, absolutely. He definitely plays that role, and we know how much they appreciate and covet positional versatility. Craig Osterberg, I think he's the D-Mac Paz routes are atrocious. I saw it firsthand tonight. It cost us at least 1, maybe 2 runs. And that is, if you guys have been watching the show, one of my goals for the trade deadline before getting into specific players was take Andy Pages out of center field. He's not a center fielder, right? That's not where he profiles. Andy Pages, when he signs a big contract one day, it will be because of what he can do at the plate and because of what his arm does in the corner outfield spots. So that is a major priority for the Dodgers. It has to be. And both of these options do that. That's the thing about Michael Conforto, right? The thing about Michael Conforto is he plays one position, right? And that definitely does not help. I don't know. They have great hitters who are all just brain dead right now. What about the bullpen? What about Dustin May? Look, Dustin May, I've been advocating for on the show. I would keep him just because you never know if guys are going to stay healthy throughout the course of a season. Also, could you imagine Dustin May in the bullpen? Think about it. The only knock on May this year, as far as the stuff goes, is the velocity is down a couple miles per hour, give or take, every start. Imagine if he's just emptying the tank out of the bullpen. You're starting to see those 98, 99s again, and then also just spamming that sweeper when it's on and becoming more of a two-pitch pitch in those situations. Dustin May could be dynamic out of the bullpen. That's why I'd be reluctant to trade him. Paul Vaughn, what is up? Kenneth Hall, Roy Estrada, Kim and Ruiz on base at the same time. It was like watching 2 Greyhounds. Unfortunately, Ohtani struck out. Yeah, I mean, that was a big situation. That's the thing. Like, they had their opportunities tonight, and the strikeouts were definitely there for this team. You just were hoping for a little more timely hitting. And look, you guys called me crazy last year. You guys called me crazy when I said that I would have included Dalton Rushing in a deal for Garrett Crochet, just because I believe in Dalton Rushing. I think that Rushing has the potential to be an all-star level catcher, right? You guys are calling me crazy, but I was saying they just signed the extension with Will Smith. He's not going anywhere. They're not going to have Dalton Rushing as their everyday left fielder. Think about this. Here. Let's have a conversation. Think about this. Now that the Dodgers are exploring outfielders, now the Dodgers are looking for outfielders that have multiple years of team control. Well, you just re-signed Teoscar Hernandez. He's here for 2 years after this year. You've got Andy Pages under team control for multiple years, and you're looking for more outfielders. Does that tell you that you are planning on having Dalton Rushing as a left fielder? No, clearly that's not a part of their plans. Dalton Rushing maybe gets a day at first base with Freddie Freeman occasionally, spelling him, maybe, but the path for playing time for Rushing is to back up Will Smith. So I think you got to use these reports and any of these rumors to kind of let you put the pieces to the puzzle together about how the other parts of the roster are being controlled. So That's why someone like a Garrett Crochet, you guys told me, oh, D-Mac, why would you trade for Garrett Crochet? He's coming off injuries, hasn't pitched this many innings, da-da-da-da-da. And what I said, hey, if you trade for Garrett Crochet, you can give him an extension, and that's your power left-handed ace. And they still won the World Series last year, thanks to Jack Flaherty and the bullpen, the rest of this Dodgers team being a special team. But look, if you had traded for Garrett Crochet, you could have extended him, and then you wouldn't have signed Blake Snell. So we'll see. I still believe in Blake Snell. I think he's going to be a big part of why this team goes back and wins the World Series. But I'm just saying, like, you don't always want to hold on to these prospects while they have a ton of value. Look at Diego Cartaya. Diego Cartaya is the perfect example. He was just released from the Twins. Released. And at one point, he was the Dodgers' top prospect, who many were comparing to, checks notes, Mike Piazza. And then now he's out of baseball right now. Okay? The truth is, you go pull up the Dodgers' top 10 prospects. Pull them up right now. Most, not half, most of those top 10, based on how many of these prospects actually make it to the big league level and go on to have successful careers, will not. So you got to play the game the right way and know when to spend and cash in on those prospects. Two, on top of that, let's not forget, a lot of teams out there, for them to have stars, you have to rely on your prospects to develop and become stars. The Dodgers go out there and spend money. They're making tons of money on Shohei Ohtani and revenue and this and that. They're absolutely fine with paying the luxury tax. So they can always go out there and acquire talent through free agency when a lot of teams, they kind of pump the brakes at certain spots. So just kind of want to point that out as well. So we got Duran as the dude with the mullet. Yeah, what's up, Rebecca? Maddie, man, 5 Dodge. That was Duran's way of saying, I don't want to come to L.A. We got I think the guys just always going to have good games. So, I mean, I don't think that's the case. BL Boyd not getting runners in twice yesterday from third with less than 2 outs shows just how horrific we are at moving runners. 0 bunts and abandoning simple contact. Look, this team has just increasingly become more and more home run reliant. Today they get 2 runs, both of them coming off of solo shots. You look at just some of those at-bats that ended up in strikeouts today. And, yeah, that's just not a great 2-strike approach. That's not a, hey, we're going to pass the baton. I mean, think about how wild this is. The Dodgers, for the game, you had 7 left on base, but just 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. You were only able to create 3 opportunities with runners in scoring position. The Dodgers have been pretty much smack dab in the middle of the pack when it comes to creating opportunities with runners in scoring position. But over the last month, they've been bottom third. They're averaging over just around 7 a game when for most of the season they've been close to 10. So, yeah, I mean, they just have not been coming through and creating offense from that standpoint. And, yeah, you mentioned the second inning right there. I mean, Kim singled, Shohei, he struck out swinging. And he had some opportunities in this one. You look at the 4th inning. You had runners on the corners after a Kim single. And you also had an Edmund single to lead off that inning. Shohei Ohtani strikes out swinging on 3 pitches. So he ends up chasing that cutter low and away. Yeah, just a lot of expanding, swinging at pitches off the plate. Just not a great approach right now as a team overall for a pretty good extended stretch. That's why I got like that's the thing. If you're kind of doing the pros and cons of a Duran and a Brendan Donovan, one thing that Brendan Donovan does at a elite level is put the ball in play. Same with a guy like a Steven Kwan. So that's another little tea leaf to kind of read off on this one is just the Dodgers showing interest in 2 different contact type of hitters. Okay, a couple more here, guys. It's kind of a quick show here. We'll be back tomorrow. Roy Estrada, what's up, Johnny Owen? What's up, Paul Vaughn? Trinan is back Monday. Yeah, that's the thing, too. You got Blake Trinan coming back on Monday. You got Blake Snell coming back. Shohei pitches next Wednesday. Still tons of talent. Absolutely. NS, Shohei is a Helsley fan, so maybe they pick up Helsley. That'd be one Helsley of a pickup, I'll tell you that much. We've got Edmund, bad ankle. That's a good point. I mean, Steven Rifle, I think that's something to point out for sure is, hey, wow, you're really going to make sure that Edmund's your center fielder. I wonder how that ankle is. We'll ask him about it when he's back in town. We got Bilal K, when I say Dave Roberts is this, he supplies the proof to that. A delayed double steal in the third with Conforto down 2 strikes and Freddie's ankle taken off like he forgot the call. Yeah, that was not a good call. No Freeland. Paul Vaughn, Dodgers only need is a bullpen. Absolutely. D-Mac, why are the slowest guys trying to leg out extra bases from Senior Jefe? I mean, that's what I was saying. I mean, for some reason, they're trying to act like all these guys are Ricky Henderson out there that all have sprint speed in the 100th percentile. It just and on top of that, a lot of these guys are guys that have been dealing with injuries all season. Yeah, I agree. I think you got to put the governor on and make sure these guys aren't hurting themselves out there. So I totally agree. We've got Dustman will get lit up tomorrow from Bilal K. We'll see. I think he's going to have a good start. I do. Jaron Elkins, Edgardo Henriquez, Robleski for Helsley and Donovan. I like that. Dan from LA throwing out your own trade packages out there. Appreciate that. I like that. We've got Donovan, Duran. I like that. Ron Fig. You want Johan Duran, whatever you want to call him. He's a great pitcher. And you also want Jaron Duran. Donovan for Dan from LA. I like this. Moreno 818 says Duran over Donovan. We got I like Donovan. Jack, Dodgers strike out way too much. Teo and Show, great hitters, but why can't they make more I mean, they're going up against Garrett Crochet today, man. I mean, you got to tip your cap a little bit on today's performance. You're going up against an absolute stud in Garrett Crochet, just a big, intimidating, dominant pitcher out there. And, he was having his way for most of that outing. Trade for whoever gets on base more from Jin Griffey Jr., Senior Heffy. D-May is better in the bullpen. That's from Rebecca. D-May in the bullpen will be fire. Rushing for Duran, Yang Yi. D-Mac, comment on positioning Pages is a low-key backhanded critique on defending on Dave Roberts from NS. We've got Kim in the one spot from Christian down below. Location. Guys talking Donovan and Duran. We've got Bilal K. That is why you should trade all these prospects, D-Mac. Hey, like I said, praise them for prospects, right? I mean, you got to find a balance, right? I mean, the truth of the matter is, look, I mean, the way that the system is in place, when you're in that Stephen Cohen tax, where you're continuously going above the top threshold in the CBT, right? And you're always doing that. Not only do you have to pay more in luxury tax at 110%, well, you also lose draft picks. You're picking down the order, and there's just things like that. So that's why this Dodgers team, you have to get creative in making additions. That's why you probably would consider trading a Dustin May for a prospect that you can develop and keep off the 40-man roster. I mean, just look what they did with Michael Bush. Everyone talks about that trade, but also led to Jackson Ferris and Zaire Hope when Michael Bush really didn't have a clear-cut position on this team. So when guys are blocked, when you're acquiring a lot of talent through free agency, when you're forced to replenish this farm system in a variety of different ways, that's how you do it. But then that does not mean that you can't trade guys that you should when you have a chance to upgrade this roster. Anthony Sotomayor, Ayo, what up, D-Mac? Like I said, guys, this team is going for special. Like I said, I mean, I hope the Dodgers are, like I said, the great quote from Adonis Creed, there is no tomorrow. I think the Dodgers should say, there is no next season, right? 2025. That's the only season that matters. And if you win this season, you go to another level of all the teams that have won World Series. You become one of those few teams who are able to repeat, right? No one talks about a lot of teams in basketball that have won championships in the last 20 years. No one's going to be talking about the 2023 Rangers for a while. But when you talk about three-peating, you think of the Los Angeles Lakers. When you talk about going back-to-back and dynasties and this and that, it's a different table that you sit at, right? It's a more exclusive table. And I think the Dodgers, you have a window here where you don't have that many prime years left of Freddie Freeman. Do you have any prime years left for Mookie Betts? I think you do, but he's having a down year. You look at the rotation. I've laid this out plenty of times. Like, there's no reason to not be all the way in for the 2025 Dodgers. And quite frankly, I'd be disappointed if they didn't make some big trades that help put themselves over the top for this year, because there's no juggernauts in the National League or the American League, and you have the talent to win it. The Dodgers are favorites for a reason. And look, Shohei Ohtani, he deferred that money for a reason, right? And that was to make sure you're doing every single thing to upgrade this roster. And if the Dodgers don't add a top-level reliever and they rely on the guys coming back, well, you can't say they're doing every single thing. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there truly is a level of, hey, we're pushing all the chips in the middle of the table, and we're not looking back because how much this roster is, how good it is, and the type of potential it has. And just the truth is, they've had one of the worst bullpens in baseball this year, and they've also pitched a lot too. So at some point, you have to pay the bill for that. But okay, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. Had tons of fun. Saturday night show, guys. No days off. Dodger baseball, 24/7, 365. And we'll be back tomorrow. An early game, Dustin May versus Walker Buehler. Anything breaks will be live very, very shortly. And what's up, Claudia? What's up, guys down below? Victor Gonzalez. Keep rocking with us down below. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button. Hit the like button for your Los Angeles Dodgers. Did lose today. We got an update on Blake Snell, by the way. 5 no-hit innings and 4 walks. We're going to see Snell back in Tampa Bay. That's going to be exciting. That's like getting an ace if he pitches like he's able to. But that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. Follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. We'll be back tomorrow. Some more juicy trade deadline talk. Any Dodgers news that breaks will be live within the hour, probably within 15 minutes. So anything drops, go to YouTube, go to X. We will be live. But that's going to do it, guys. Hit the subscribe button if you have not yet. If you want to support the show, hit the like button on your way out. And remember that nothing, absolutely nothing brings together quite like Dodger baseball. Until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium. Dodgers win.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball.
Grand slam.
It's a double for Freddie.
Monkey magic.
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. This is the most anticipated season in Dodgers history.
Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Think blue.